What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Liam Murphy here. And today we're going to be trying to repeat as champion in Ball Mania. I primarily do live streams on this channel, but I'm going to be trying to add more pre-recorded content. So today we're going to do a pre-recorded video of me drafting a Ball Mania team. The contest I won in its second edition for $1 million. We're going to be trying to win for a cool $2 million today. Looks like we do need a couple more people to join for this one. About 4 more, and we'll get this puppy going. For those who do subscribe to beatbestball.com, did push through updated rankings today, August 19th, around noon. All right, let's see what pick we get here. And if you do like this content, be sure to like, subscribe. We're on the road to 8,000 subscribers, slowly but surely. All right, we got this bad boy to fill, and we're at pick 8. You know, if you're gearing up for one of your home drafts, pick 8, not a bad pick. There's really no bad picks this year, in my opinion. I do think the back half of the drafts are pretty strong, where you can get 2 premier players. But picking at, closer to the 1 hole, the 2 hole, also pretty great because you can get, running backs like Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs. And then being in the middle of the draft really just allows you to, in general, so picks like 5, 6, 7, 8, allows you to scoop values that are falling throughout the draft that you just don't have access to at picks like 12 or 1. We are just waiting for this bad boy to kick off. At the 8 hole, we're probably going to be looking at either Nico Collins, Puka Nacua, Christian McCaffrey, someone like that. Okay, Jahmyr Gibbs goes first overall. Don't think it's crazy, but I'm always going Jamar Chase at 1. I love Gibbs this year. Could just be, a 25 point per game type of guy. This is half point PPR. It's a format where, if you're new, you got to start 2 running backs, 3 wideouts, a flex, and a tight end. It is best ball, meaning you draft and you're done. Again, we're trying to turn $25 in this draft into a cool $2 million. Boom. That's the goal. I did have 2 teams in the finals last year as well. So let's build another finals team. I think I've only uploaded 1 other pre-recorded draft on this channel. That was, I think we're going to do CMC this time. For most of the draft cycle, I've been going Nico, Puka, Amon-Ra, Neighbors, Brian Thomas at these picks. But with the uncertainty right now with, Stafford, Neighbors is missing practice with his foot, I think it's fine to mix in CMC. I'm going to be in general underweight, but yeah, I want to get a couple shares. And, a more casual crowd, the August draft crowd, they typically draft running backs heavy, as we're seeing Derrick Henry go at the 10 hole. So combating that with an early CMC, probably get some later wide receivers earlier or later in the draft feels good. So yeah, only think I've posted 1 other pre-recorded video, and that was the year I won the DraftKings 21-20, the $2,000 best ball tournament. So let's do it again. Pre-recorded draft compared to a live draft, in general, the live draft, I get to interact with the comments. This, though, the YouTube algorithm rewards it a different way. Hopefully, there are new viewers watching the channel. And if so, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join the Discord link below. I do have rankings and strategy articles at beatbestball.com. Wow, this is crazy. See, if I was streaming, I don't think I would get this. Honestly, if I wasn't going to go CMC there, I was either going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown or Puka Nacua. Instead, I get CMC and Puka Nacua. Now, Matt Stafford was back at practice today. Puka Nacua could just so easily be the wide receiver 1 overall that it is simply wrong for him to be here. People are afraid. They're afraid of Matt Stafford, maybe being hurt. But Matt Stafford has maybe been hurt for his whole career pretty much. He's kept on playing. He's kept on practicing. Even if Matt Stafford misses time, Puka Nacua himself is not hurt. Unlike maybe Achane. Unlike maybe Neighbors. These guys are actually maybe hurt, right? So I do think like this guy pulled up T. Higgins to the turn, and I think that's quite good to do as far as getting a unique combo for this contest. But it allows me to get a unique combo that you can't go into drafts and be like, you know what I want? I'm going to start CMC and Puka. You can't force that. You can force Derrick Henry and T. Higgins. But yeah, if you see by ADP, CMC's ADP is 7. Puka Nacua's is 11.7, so 12. And I got Puka at 17 because we did have this guy reach on Josh Jacobs, this guy reach on T. Higgins. So, you know what? Good luck. We're doing more pre-recorded best ball teams. I also don't have to hide my ranks when I do this. Obviously, no one is looking and no one is watching. When I stream, a lot of times people are in the drafts with me. So, absolute insanity. And again, Matt Stafford was back at practice today. These people clearly are not reacting to news like I am. Okay, coming up on the third round here. I'm jazzed for this. I have one team like this in the Eliminator, but in Best Ball Mania, I don't. And it's also like, all right, we don't want to mess this up just with how good the start is. Lamar, great for sure. Kittle, great. Mike Evans, great. Cook, great. I think we're just going to go Lamar. Elite quarterback is better on a half-point site. They just mathematically contribute more points to your roster. We know the elite quarterback is unlikely to bust, right? All these other guys, there's some risk to bust. But Lamar, what's he going to be at worst? 22 points. Allows us to go 2 quarterbacks comfortably. And yeah, if we're going to be getting guys like Puka Nacua in the second, who I still value as 8th overall, then that makes me a lot more like wanting to go CMC. Like why I was kind of fading CMC to start the year is I just think the opportunity cost is quite high to be fading these wide receivers who could be the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy, such as Amon-Ra, Brian Thomas, Puka, Neighbors, Nico. So this guy in the 10 hole is clearly doing his own thing here. Just takes Jalen Hurts ahead of Jaden Daniels. He's clearly not afraid to get his guys. I'm hoping we get like James Cook here. We're absolutely not going Jaden Daniels, even though I do love Jaden Daniels. Cook goes. I think we're just going to do a wideout here. Worthy is reasonable. I like JMO a lot too. No week 17 correlation to speak of. Tet's fine. He's a bit banged up. Pickens, I like as well. I think we're going to do Pickens this time. Yeah, I mean, I've never really been a George Pickens guy when he was a Steeler. But what you could say about Pickens this year, and what I'm sure many think / have said, is that George Pickens is basically T. Higgins in the Cowboys offense. And so why is he so cheaper? And so, yeah, Pickens, just a great fit for the scoring format. Worthy, obviously, a lot of upside for him as well. He should positively regress on touchdowns. I don't really love his Week 17 matchup against the Broncos secondary, whereas Pickens gets to play the Commanders secondary, who looks kind of rough. And Pickens also was available at pick 80 throughout the summer. So for some game theory reasons, he becomes not as great a click, but those teams don't have CMC and Puka for sure. They do not. After Cook went, it was always going to be wide receiver for me. And yeah, just a great fit for the scoring format. Half-point PPR here, touchdowns. If you're curious why we care about Week 17 matchups, if I pull up my site here, it's because that's when the money is won in these contests, right? So unlike your home leagues, that's not when the money is won. The money is won Week 17. You got to get to the playoffs, and then really the money is won Week 17. So we do care who people play Week 17. A big reason why I won BBM2 is because of that. So we're cooking right now with Lamar versus the Packers Week 17. We got CMC versus the Bears. If I find the 49ers, San Fran, Chicago. We just added Pickens versus Washington. And we got Puka versus Atlanta in the Dome. And the Dome is quite nice because that time of year, obviously, weather can be a thing. I mean, is this the $2 million team here, folks? Anchor CMC, 2 wideouts we like. Lamar Jackson. Okay. Wow. I mean, did we just see Breece Hall go pick 55? So this pick's always going to be Zay Flowers for us. Of course, we have Lamar, so we want to stack him with Zay Flowers. All Zay Flowers needs to do to be a good pick this year is just score some touchdowns. He only scored 4 touchdowns on 74 catches last year. Lamar threw 40-plus touchdowns last year. He threw 41 touchdowns. Guys like Mark Andrews scored 11 touchdowns on only 55 catches. Bateman also scored a ton of touchdowns, I think like 7 or 8. 9 touchdowns on 45 catches. So Zay Flowers, who by far, who had, almost 20 to 30 more catches than these guys, has half the touchdowns of them. So ask yourself, if Zay catches 8 touchdowns instead, how good would he be? Absolute smash, right? So feels really good to get Zay with Lamar. Don't mind only having one running back. I do think like Breece Hall is falling because of the Braylon Allen stuff, but that's a crazy fall. Okay, so both Rome and Ricky Pearsall correlate for this team. As far as Pearsall is same team correlation, Rome is opposing team correlation. It's going to be one of these two guys. I think I'm going to do Pearsall this time. Running back, wide receiver is always good correlation to have. The 49ers defense should be worse this year. They lost roughly like a whole NFL cap worth of defensive contracts this year. And so you hope that makes the team have to throw more. Had really strong targets in his preseason game. And of course, Brandon Ayuk is currently injured, probably return to week 6 or so. Ricky Pearsall, former first-round pick. And then, Juwan Jennings isn't practicing right now. We don't know if it's because of contract or because of the calf, but it's certainly not good, right? So Ricky Pearsall, definitely live to be a smash. Also a guy who I don't have a ton of, so happy to get 2 guys I don't have a ton of together, Pearsall and CMC, because if you're wrong, who cares, right? Hopefully you're just right for this individual team, Man, people are just reaching to get their guys in this one. This guy goes Pacheco at pick 49, which I think is fine, but his ADP is at the 6-7 turn. So he's got this whole Chiefs thing going on. And, Chiefs fans should be allowed to do that. Could even be good. Breece Hall falls to pick 55. He was going at the 3-4 turn for most of the year. I didn't really draft much Breece Hall at the 3-4 turn at all, so I would have felt forced to take him if he was there, even on this awesome team. This guy goes T. Higgins in the second. He usually goes to the 2-3 turn. That one's not crazy at all, right? Like Bengals wide receivers, super live to smash. All right. So if we go running back, I kind of like Aaron Jones more than David Montgomery. Addison is also reasonable. 3-game suspension, but we got the firepower to get him there. So the question is, do we prefer Addison and one of these running backs or Aaron Jones and one of these wideouts? And I think this time we're going to do Jones. Jones should be quite involved in the pass game to start the year with suspensions to Addison. Jalen Naylor is hurt. I personally still like Aaron Jones, especially for best ball, where all he has to do is, run a far touchdown to pay off. And he has that in his bag still. Yes, Jordan Mason's part of the picture now. I like him as well, but love Aaron Jones' explosiveness. Just a bad pick to take Brian Robinson here by this guy. Clearly not consuming information. Brian Robinson has been falling in drafts with the rumor that he's just going to get cut / traded. So I still like the bet, but you can get him at pick 100, 112 in rooms that pay more attention. This guy goes Baker to stack with Mike Evans. Reasonable. Aaron Jones gets to play the Lions week 17. Certainly a super fun fantasy game. Okay, Jaden Reed, that's one of the guys we were hoping to get. Not too interested in doing the Mason Jones thing on this team. Would take either of the Bills wideouts, Shakir or Keon. Shakir is banged up, but he should be ready sooner than later to start the season. Oh my God, this guy just goes. Yeah, this guy is just getting his guys. That guy next to him as well. For sure, going Khalil Shakir here. And, none of this should be thrown out. Like, this guy goes Mixon, reasonable. This guy could just be a Cowboys fan and think that Williams is super underrated, right? It's allowed to think that. So, our team, Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, Puka Nacua, George Pickens, Zay Flowers, Ricky Pearsall, Khalil Shakir. Even if Shakir misses a week or two to start the year, doesn't matter with us having these 4 wideouts. So, feel really good. Happy I went Jones over Addison. Just feels slightly better to have like Jones and Shakir than it does to have like Addison and Jordan Mason, to me personally. But it's close. Godwin should also be falling in drafts. Sounds like he's going to be starting on PUP. Jaden Higgins, he should also I'm going to lower him in my ranking update soon here because it sounds like he's just firmly the wide receiver 3 to start the year, and Kirk is going to start over him. And he's not even distanced himself too much from Jalen Noel. So certainly a great redraft bet where you can wait to see it. But yeah, I don't know. Getting a little hype there. Keon, a great breakout bet. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, this one is normal. Brian Robinson expected to be cut and or traded. So people are assuming Merritt is the RB1. It's not confirmed, right? It could be Chris Rodriguez. It could be a guy they trade for, But yeah, this guy is he's just vibing, getting his guys. And we're hoping to slurp the value. That's part of August drafts, right? Would love to get Jaylen Warren here as an RB3. Come on. Come on, weird Frank. Don't do it. Holding my breath. I'm still very high on Jaylen Warren. I think he is quite likely to just be the RB1 for the Steelers. He just was pretty injured last year, and I don't think we've seen his best fantasy season yet. I considered him the round before, and so team feels super good, right? An elite quarterback, 3 running backs I like, and then 5 wide receivers I like. The guy vibing with Christian Kirk, that pick is reasonable to me as well. I think most of his picks were reasonable. The only one that was not to me is Javonte Williams. ADP of 133. Took him at pick 87. Just no need to take him there. You can get him later in the draft. So let's figure it out. Purdy goes to the Kittle drafter. If Warren was gone, maybe I go Kittle or Purdy. Okay, let's figure it out. Dak, super reasonable with us having Pickens. The other thing that's reasonable is Zach Charbonnet. He's just the kind of a guy I like. I'm not going to get both of them. Tight end is also reasonable, as is Rashad Bateman for the correlation. I'm going to do Charbonnet this time. Seems like the running scheme is pretty awesome for the Seahawks. They get to play the Panthers, who literally averaged 180 rushing yards a game against them last year. They're going to be better, but that's what happened last year. They get to play them week 17. And even more importantly, Ken Walker is dealing on and off with a foot injury, and he's a guy who's never really been healthy in his career. So we'll have to figure out the second quarterback. But with us having Lamar, I'd rather go the running back. Even if CMC misses time, Jones, Warren, and Charbonnet feels really strong. Bateman obviously was a stack. Hoping to get a guy like Kraft or Njoku. Kincaid, I'm high on these 3 tight ends. Would love to get one of them as our tight end 1. The goal is to just have a super team, right? Elite quarterback, 4 good running backs, 5 good wideouts. Do think I could also just take Herbert if these guys are gone and figure out a back stack. Same thing with Trevor. And then JJ McCarthy stacked with Aaron Jones. Not a crazy stack. Not too many back stack options, but it seems fine. Keenan Allen, also a very reasonable pick. Maybe this guy just has his own rankings. But we love our team. It's important in these to generally be paying attention to what other people do, just to try to have an idea of what kind of drafters you're dealing with, what kind of picks they're going to make. This guy's really leaning into risk. His team has like super risky. Jennings not practicing. Godwin likely starting on PUP. Ayuk starting on PUP. Judkins maybe getting suspended / starting on PUP. Darnell Mooney might not be ready week 1. So this guy is just fully leaned into the risk, which I think is okay to do, but it is a lot of risk for the same team. Okay, awesome to get Kraft. Honestly, the tight end of the guys I put in there, he makes the most sense for us because the Packers do play the Ravens week 17, so we get a week 17 correlation there. I love Kraft, especially for best ball. He could simply be the Packers' number 1 target this year. He was awesome last year and seems like a great bet to get touchdowns. This guy goes Kincaid over Kraft because he wants to stack with Josh Allen. Super reasonable. This guy goes Michael Penix because he just feels like doing it. No stack there, but hey, not everyone is drafting like I think the game should be played. That's why the game is beatable. So, okay, probably going to go quarterback here. And Love comes pretty high in the queue. I think Love is first for us now. McCarthy second. And Herbert is just in case. Getting Goddard or Ferguson would feel good as well. Just because I still view them as great tight end bets. That allows me to stop at 2. But I do think the quarterback's more important. Love is a little weird because it does play the Ravens week 17, so I would have both quarterbacks from that game. But I just like Love, and the stack is comfortable. Yes, this guy, Goff, unstacked. Maybe an auto draft. Because Mayfield was stacked for him. And he did stack Fields as well. So I don't really know what's up with the Goff pick. He didn't take him on raw. Maybe he meant Trevor. Maybe he autoed. I don't know. Interesting. This guy goes Keenan and Harris. Okay, this guy goes Love on us. Unstacked as well. So the room does not believe in stacking like I do, which is fine. And I like Herbert a lot more than JJ McCarthy, but again, the correlation breaks the tie for me. Herbert is back stackable. What I mean by back stackable is you take the quarterback first and you can take pass catchers more. So Herbert's easier to do that with, where you can take usually guys like Trey Harris, Keandre Lambert-Smith, his tight ends. But we already have correlation with McCarthy, with Aaron Jones, and he has the best Week 17 game playing the Lions probably. So, yeah, kind of weird here where this guy goes Love with no Packer. Now, you can backstack Love with like Dobbs. This guy goes Penix with no Falcon. This guy goes Trevor with Hunter. So he's actually doing logical stuff here to me. This guy goes Goff with no stack as well, which maybe caused this guy to rage pick Love because he did have Amon-Ra. Or he had Jameson Williams. Who knows? But yeah, and if you're wondering why is stacking matter? Well, you want to think to yourself, what is the easiest way for me to win $2 million at the end of the season? That's what we're trying to do, right? And in general, it's going to be stacking. So like, can you win unstacked? Of course. But you're going to be facing, if you make the finals, 500 other teams, and you want the easiest path to winning. Okay. And that is usually when your quarterbacks throw touchdowns to your skill players. You don't want to have like Goff with no stack, because it's quite likely if Goff is the quarterback you need, well, then Amon-Ra had a great game or JMO had a great game, and you don't have those, and other teams will. McCarthy allows me to comfortably stop at 2 quarterbacks, though. When I take an elite like Lamar, I'm always stopping at 2. Can probably go 3 tight ends just with how strong this team is at the other positions. I mean, I do like Herbert more than McCarthy. He's just like an elite quarterback in my view, and I think he's going to run more this year. Oh man, almost got Goddard. That is kind of a bummer. I think we're going to go Tajay Spears here. Quite a discount. He's a little banged up right now, so that's why he's falling in drafts. But with this group, CMC, Jones, Warren, Charbonnet, Spears, I think I can just stop at 5 running backs. I don't feel weak at wideout either, so we might add a 6th just because why not? Isaac Guerendo's back at practice. I've always loved him. So going CMC with Guerendo seems fine to me as well. And probably going to take one of these wideouts. I prefer Dobbs the most just because he does play, or Dubs, he does play the Ravens Week 17. Tillman I like a lot. Kyle Williams, I think he's a reasonable bet, but I don't like him enough to take him on this team that I like so much. And then these 3 tight ends: Strange, Hunter Henry, Zach Ertz. So, yeah, not a surprise that the guy taking Javonte Williams took Nick Chubb way above ADP and Tyler Lockett, right? Like, I just like Tillman too much to pass. He averaged like 18 points over a 3-game stretch. He just dealt with injuries. So we'll figure out tight end. We're going to take 3 of them. Yeah, my read on this guy is that he's entering his first draft of the year, and he's trying to draft players he knows of from the past, which, is reasonable, right? So Tyler Lockett, who goes at the end of drafts, if you are playing your first draft, you're kind of like, hey, where's Tyler Lockett? Control F. Where's Zeke? Nick Chubb, he knows that name. Don't know how he knows Trey Harris. That's a weird one for his build. But like Derrick Henry, yep, that checks the box. So who knows? So we have a 2-5-6-1, 2 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 6 wide receivers, 1 tight end. 4 more picks left. I think I'm going to take 2 tight ends just because I feel so good at running back and wide out. And so that leaves that leaves 2 picks left. Do I want to put them both in the wide receiver? Do I want to go 1 running back and 1 wide out? Do I want to go a quarterback? If there's a quarterback that like makes sense, I'm not against it, but none really do. You know, like I'm not taking Joe Flacco. Hope we can get Ertz here. If the Titans are gone, I will take Isaac Rendo and handcuff CMC. And then just take 2 tight ends and 1 wide receiver. Would prefer Ertz over Grendo though right now. Tight end after Ertz kind of dries up, but Cade Otton is like Jalen McMillan, who I need to lower in my ranks again. He's starting on PUP, so Ertz does go. Bummer. I think we're going to go Grendo. No, Grendo goes. Yeah, McMillan is going to start on PUP. He's dealing with a serious neck injury. I love Will Shipley. I think he makes a lot of sense for this team. Ugh. We're just taking Cade Otton. We like the team too much to not allow us to get Cade Otton, who he becomes like all of a sudden Godwin is on PUP, probably. McMillan is on PUP. So you only got Egbuka, Mike Evans, and Otton out there. And Otton smashed last year at times. So happy to get him. McMillan, you know, he's still going to play football, but it's just going to take a while. Maybe this guy's sorted by projected points. Let's see. If he takes Jalen Wright, Adam Thielen, Wandale, quite likely. Okay, with the guys we were gearing towards, I do think I'm going to go Will Shipley. Going Will Shipley with CMC feels quite good. Okay, Shipley goes to this guy, to the wild card. Are there any tight ends? Not really. Oh, Mason Taylor. Yeah, I need to bump him back up in my ranks. He's the one guy I forgot. Yeah, let's just take Taylor and be done at tight end. He's drawing live to be the second target for the Jets. Do I really like Jets passing game pieces? No. But talented guy. I lowered him because he dealt with a high ankle sprain. But now he's back at practice. I think he went in the second round. And yeah, just reasonable upside bet. Adam Thielen would have been fine, but we just don't feel like doing Adam Thielen right now. Okay. So I think with that, we're just going to take 2 more wide receivers. CMC, Jones, Warren, Charbonnet, Spears is just, it's too strong to add a 6th, I think. Especially with Shakir, maybe not being ready week 1. Pearsall, maybe not being a breakout, you know. Tillman, again, concussion issues. You do have to start 3 wide receivers a week, so having the most picks there makes sense. Because like CMC to me is a starter, Aaron Jones is a starter, Jalen Warren is a starter to me. And then Charbonnet and Spears are strong 1Bs. So yeah, we're going to add this bad boy with 2 wideouts. Ideally would like to get some week 17 correlation on it, but also just happy to take the guys I think will score the most points. I bet this guy like broke his keyboard when Quentin Johnston went. I think I would have gone Shipley if he was there. Just it's a really good pairing to fit Shipley with CMC because you didn't take Saquon. So you said, well, let me take Saquon's backup and hope that Saquon fails. And now I have 2, you know, first-round talentish guys. Okay, we need a wideout. All these guys are like priced high for me for upside reasons, but I think I'm going to be taking the steady eddies right now on this team that I just love. So for me, that's Slayton and Andre Yoshivas. They're just going to be on the field, you know? And so let's go with Slayton. If I was feeling like real spicy, I could go Devontae Walker with Lamar, Jalen Naylor with McCarthy, but I'm not. Andre Yoshivas, probably just the wide receiver 3 for the Bengals and a deep threat at worst. Right? Pass happy Bengals, getting pieces of them makes sense. Darius Slayton, deep threat for the Giants. Dart and Russ both going to throw the deep ball. They get to play the Raiders. He was dealing with a little bit of an injury, but looks like he's back in practice. You know, like some of these guys are more likely to be league winners, like Royals, Noel, Tesla. But Slayton is just quite likely to give you a couple weeks, which is very valuable in best ball and not valuable at all in managed, right? Like you would never know when to start Slayton in a managed league. Mac Hollins and Hunter Renfrow. Crazy picks right there. Doesn't even go Tesla with Goff. People are out here vibing, folks. We're out here grinding our brain to mush, trying our best to win these contests. And other people are just loading it up, taking Javonte Williams in the 8th and jamming Renfrow and Hollins. We don't even get the chance on Naylor, which is funny. Now, Trey Tucker does play. All right, we're going to do Trey Tucker over. Trey Tucker is pretty similar to Yoshi Voss, except Tucker is maybe the wide receiver 2 for the Raiders. And we get week 17 correlation where these two teams play each other, the Raiders and the Giants. Tucker could definitely lose his job to a multitude of players, mainly Jack Besh, who their second round pick, but seems like he's just the wide receiver 2 right now. So the team is Lamar and JJ McCarthy, CMC, Aaron Jones is our stack with McCarthy, Jalen Warren, Charbonnet Spears. Fine to do some weird correlation like that sometimes, just quarterback, running back. Aaron Jones catches passes, obviously. Puka Nacua, George Pickens, Zay Flowers, Ricky Pearsall. Flowers stacked with Lamar. Khalil Shakir, Cedric Tillman, Darius Slayton, Trey Tucker. Like to have 3 like deep bomb touchdown guys when you have a guy like Shakir and Flowers who might just be more PPR oriented if they don't work out. Kraft gives us some week 17 correlation with Lamar. Cade Otton, just the tight end bet I like a lot. And Mason Taylor, an upside swing. So team feels very good. A 2-5-8-3 looks like this on the draft board. That's what I got for you, ladies and gentlemen, today. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, check out my live streams, do a lot of live stream content, and let me know what you think in the YouTube comments. Do you like these pre-recorded videos where I talk through the draft? Who won this draft? Do you like Deal's team better than me? Let me know. Have a great day.